say, well, I might not have been the first. I have to be brutally honest. Like,
You didn't invent this, but you perfected it.
Ooh,
oh,
refined
I
it.
just like to see, the Twinsers. I worked with Will and I paid him a royalty and Stu Kent's. We were partners at a surf shop in Imperial Beach and for about a year. And I started working with Will and I made myself a Twinser. It worked pretty good. Stu tried it and he loved it, but as time has gone by, everybody goes, like Stu or this guy named Manny, like they forgot that, you know,
Well,
I
Jobson.
kind of took the Twinser mainstream. Will was working with Mark Potter and
Glenn Minami, right?
yeah. Uh, but and so Nick Carroll was the editor at Surfing Magazine, and a couple of years later, he said, I'd like to have you make something you think is futuristic." So I took the Twinser and I stuck its tail and I did a few other changes, and that was called the C5. We had a C5 challenge with blacks, I think. Carmen,
I got a few requests from people asking me to ask you to bring back the C5. I had a few people be like, ask him to bring back the C5. It's the best shape I ever had when I was a Grom.
Well, we are going to bring back the Twinser. Scott Bass featured the Twinser at his last boardroom show.
Yeah.
And I was gonna participate, and I just thought about it, and I go, but I've been making them more lately, and people are freaking on them. And I remember the first time I rode one, I was wondering, I couldn't really even feel my feet. The first time I rode was at a restaurant, and I thought, but the board didn't spin, and it it, it was so smooth and so buttery, I almost couldn't feel the fit. The board never spun out, and it was cutbacks. And I've been making more lately, putting on like this guy, he starts to see a lot. I made him I don't know, 6'4" lowrider, but he asked to get a Twinser fit. I did that, and he was tripping me. He goes, "Dude, it's the best I've surfed in." So
That's
It's
cool.
got to be the board.
maybe.
We were talking
Gotta be the
about Carl Ekstrom a bit and just design in general, and it made me want to ask. One of your first boards was a 9-foot Ekstrom asymmetrical that was designed for a regular foot, correct?
Oh, you've done your research. Yeah, 9.3 was used.
And you loved that board.
Carl had a shop down the shores, and I can't remember if it was his wife or his girlfriend, but she's beautiful. I used to like to hang out the shop and check out the boards and then flirt with her, and I was like,
Yeah, checking out the boards.
So my question would be, like, from a surfboard design perspective, because you're famously like a very much like meticulous measurement numbers.
Mhm.
But from like with that ASIM in mind, like for the average surfer, that board was not designed for you being a goofy footer. So I'm curious, like, in your opinion, what is more important in terms of surfboard design? Like a good curve that is a good curve, or a specific measurement? Or is it somewhere in between?
Well, I mean, there's so many variables in there. I've been about asymmetricals all along. I mean, Henry Hester, who wrote GNS, he was a good surfer. He was a famous skateboarder. I built him ASIM twin in the early '80s with some channels on the longer side. And I have pictures of it. He loved the board. And Josh Kerr, I made him a quiver of 5 ASIMs for Chobu about 12 years ago. And he says to this day, they're still some of the best boards he's written. I made myself some. And, there's all of these, younger underground shapers are, like Ryan Birch. They're all about ASIMs. And
Yeah.
I got a story about Tom Survey. When I first started computer design shaping in the late '90s, I made Tom a board, and he loved it. Tom's, maybe slightly above average surfer, but he loved it. And about 8 months later, he goes, "Hey, Rusty, things get boards getting worn out. Give me." What? I said, "Sure, Tom. I'll just hit repeat." Because that's the beauty of computers.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so I built him another board, and he tried it. He goes, "Well, this one's pretty good. It's not nearly as good as I want it duplicated." I went, "Oh, okay." So I tried again, and he goes, "Well, this one's a little better, but still not." And so I said, "Bring the original board back down." And I put them on my shaping racks. I started measuring it, and I looked at the fins. The front side fin was a half inch above my mark, and the backside fin was a half inch below my mark. So the fins were off,
Ah,
and he loved the board. I mean,
same fins.
album, what's his name, Matt Parker.
Yeah.
He's all about ace. You surf so differently off your toes than you do off your heels. ASIMs are, they're logical.